Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in today. Hey, welcome back to the bunker. It's Thursday. Pardon me. We're here at our normal midday scheduled time. I know it's 12:30, and what else have you been waiting for but this lovely lunchtime special where you'll get to sit around with your good old friend Steve here, and we're going to get back to basics. We're going back to the classroom. And so I want to, first off, say a huge shout out to the people I already see in the chat. And I see we did have some early people show up. Thank you very much. And if you could, please just do me one small favor today, and that's hit the like button so that everybody else will know that class is in session. And Professor Steve has on his serious work shirt today and is ready to walk you through a little bit of a restoration process on a CRT PCB. And this is kind of a good starting point. It's one of the starting points I always, it's one of the points I always start at, let's say, when going through a restoration. And it's something that is going to be affecting every single CRT out there on this planet. So thank you. I see all of you coming in saying hello. Hello to everybody. I'm going to do some shout outs here in a minute. Thank you so much for, again, taking this lovely time out of your schedule to be here today and join me for this journey. Now, as I do that, I do want to have a special, again, shout out before I get started with the shout outs to you in the chat. I have a shout out for, how about this, teachers. If you are a teacher, I want to say a special shout out and thank you to you, because you are the hero, okay? You are the hero. Look, my crazy school district decided, hey, you know what would be fun? Let's have a school day in the middle of the week after Halloween. And you think, okay, maybe they just don't have extra days in their academic calendar to work around it. Oh no, we have 2 random days off this next Monday and Tuesday coming up for scheduled teacher work days. So instead of, breaking that up and giving those teachers and kids a chance to sleep in and relax after what's possible, let's say, is there any holiday that's more impactful to sleep schedules when it's during the middle of the week than Halloween, right? Your kids staying up, they're eating sugar, they're crashed, they fall asleep, and they're a wreck to wake up in the morning. And it's like hell, hell on wheels, baby. You know it. If you have kids, you know it. If you don't, you were a kid. You ate some candy, and you did this to your parents. At least I believe you probably did. I know I did, right? So, hey, shout out to you teachers who had to get up and deal with all those cranky kids, because the only thing that left me some peace of mind was knowing that I got to drop my kids off at their school, and I wouldn't have to see them again until about 3 in the afternoon once they had somewhat stabilized from the shock of being woken up early in the morning after cracking out on some sugar, right? All right. Well, that's the special shout out. Thank you all, teachers. Everywhere in the world, everybody has teachers, just like everybody should have CRTs. So thank you all. So I'm going to get here. I'm going to drop some shout outs here. So some early conversation going. Oh my goodness. I cannot. Let's see. All right. We got Stephen Norton first up. Hey, Stephen. Good to see you here. Andre, welcome back. Always great to see you here in the chat. Excuse me. Chris Brome, thank you for coming. Ronnie S., good to see you. Demon Child. Cozy Cathodes, welcome back. Jonathan Pottle. W. Morford. Brian Harmon. Robert Cotillier. About Cab. Time. Jeff, hello everybody. Thank you all for being here today, and thank you for saying hello in the chat. And look, you can go ahead and say anything you want to really in the chat that's cool, that's with the program. So it's really a chilled out place to go in there and enjoy yourself. So as I said, I'm back in the classroom. If I check over here for a second, Cole's sleeping somewhere else. I know he's asleep, but he's not in this room. So if he comes back in, I do have the Cole cam set up. We'll check on him. And I've also got a desk cam set up where hopefully I'll be able to show you just a little bit more on this PCB that I'm working on. So that is all set up. Thank you everybody for all the amazing things you're saying there in the chat. Really appreciate it. So let's get relaxed here before we get started. And there is one more thing that I will tell you about. as we let the show kind of warm up and we get ready for our main topic of the restoration. And first off, I'd like to show you these things. Everybody's probably seen these things in a CRT. That's a PVM or something. If you have a PVM, or you've seen a PVM, you've seen these little badges. Now this one's tore up pretty bad. I'm pretty sure Cole got this one, got a hold of it and chewed it up a little bit. But this one came off the front of a 20-inch. I believe it was an M series 20-inch PVM, where it sits in the slots in the front with those two extensions on there. And I believe this is like aluminum maybe or something. I'm not sure, because I don't think it's magnetic at all. Hey Kevin, thank you for coming. Welcome in. Yeah. So this is the original, and this is for a 20-inch. And then under that I have a 13-inch. Now this is not the same size for every single one of these, okay? This is a good condition one that came out of a 13-inch. Some of them vary a little bit. For example, if you get the 2030 series, they have an indentation that varies, and so does the 40 series. If you get a 13 and 19 inches of those, they have an indentation in the plastic, and theirs can vary a little bit. So those can be more of a pain in the neck to deal with if you're missing your piece there. And what I've got here is a gift I got from my friend, and we'll just put his info here. I talked about him briefly. Graphics Gear. See there? Graphics Gear. I hope you can see that pretty good. But he does these cool overlays, really high quality overlays for controllers. This is an example of an awesome one that I'm getting ready to use for Link and Zelda. And here we go. This is what I wanted to show you. He sent me these, which are prototypes of just a peel off and print version, right? And then it's got, I believe, a little overlay on top of it maybe. But I was going to say that's about as good of a swap out for some of those that we can find. So that is cool, because I'll be able to use these. There we go. And if you're just looking at my screen right now, it's probably difficult. It would be probably difficult to see and tell which one is which, right? Anyway, that's cool. So that's just, that's just cosmetics, but it does make a difference to some people to have that little badge on the front. So it's nice that we can at least find some way to maybe reproduce that. At least I'll be able to offer that to my customers. I don't believe that Sony would probably be too happy if these were for sale, so I don't know that they're ever going to actually come on sale. But if you do want to go check out Graphics Gear, it's at GRAFXGEAR on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, or graphicsgear.com. So let me show you that. You can at least see the website there. Check out the other things they have on their website. Can you see it? Can you see it there? Cool. I think you can. All right, there we go. I think we finally caught it right there in the middle. All right. Thank you for sending that in, and I will be testing that out. I mean, it should work fine. It's not going to be perfect, but what can you say? It's better, again, than having nothing. So, welcome in, Raceroni. Welcome in, Luis. And welcome back, anybody new, welcome in. And it's 9 minutes in. Oh, I do have maybe one more thing. I bought a couple of CRTs. I'm going to pick them up tomorrow from an estate sale locally. I say locally, it's still an hour and a half away. Hey, self-elected. So I have to drive an hour and a half away to get them. But and I don't know why I bought them. It's $30. It was 2 of them. There's a Montgomery Ward CRT, which I'm kind of interested in. It comes with paperwork. It's from the mid-1980s. And then there's a portable color. Both of them are color. Then there's a portable TV. And I also bought a camcorder, and it's going to be a VHS camera, basically. So there's a JVC camera that I bought that I can film straight up VHS tapes with, if it works. So I bought a bundle of those, and that was the real expensive thing, the $60 buy. That's how much the auction got up to. I could not believe how high the auction got up to for the... there were a bunch of VCRs on there, and they got over $50 for VCRs. Now, they were nice ones, but still crazy. What's up, Snuffer? Stuffer? Welcome in, Cadet. Yes, sir. Let's get going, everybody. So those things are... I'm going to go film a little bit of that tomorrow, but the crappy thing is I keep having to use my phone to film because my doggone it, my RMA is still going on, or my return with the good old boys, the GoPro. They still got my camera. They said they said I am approved for a replacement, but they're just taking their sweet time getting it to me. All right, we're gonna get rolling here. Hey Daniel, thank you for coming. All right, everybody, here we go. All is well, all is wonderful. Let's do this. All right, we're about to get started here. We're only about just over 10 minutes. Dr. Claw, thank you. We are just over 10 minutes into the show, folks. I will put a timestamp below that says this is the point where the main topic is going. We're going to get class started. We're going to take a look at the C-board, which is what I have right here. And for anybody who's seen a CRT with the back of the shell off, okay, these are on the back of the tube, and this is the CRT socket right here, and that's where it plugs into the tube. Now that's plastic with a bunch of connection points that connect to those individual points on your tube into the electron gun, and then all the electronics for that are built onto this small board generally, and then you have connection cables that go out to different points. Now, I will tell you, this is a high voltage board, so you do not need to play with this board if you do not know what you're doing, first off. Second off, this is safe because all the power is turned off, and you don't actually have to do the discharge procedure on any CRT to get this off. If you can get it off and removed, it's okay. But don't do that while, obviously, it's turned on, because there's high voltage going in the back of this at these points, and if you do this or something, you will burn your hand up. Okay, so with the now that I've put the fear of God in you all, let's talk a bit about what's the problem with these boards, generally speaking. Now, if you have this is good. Okay, if you have a CRT, it works fine, and you're like, man, I'm concerned about it. What do I need to look for on this circuit board? And this is a good one to look for, because this one is one that tends to develop problems, and it's easy to get to, okay? And it becomes easier to see those problems the more you familiarize yourself with it. So if I switch over here. Now this is, so first off, you'll look here on this side of the board, all right? And there's some components here that, like, again, if everything's working and you're not troubleshooting this for an actual problem, we're just talking about like a restoration process, which is happening on this set right now. I'm looking at this set, and just from looking at this board, you can tell things that I told you. See how there's actual burn marks where it looks browner and darker where my fingers are on this board, and that is literally from the high voltage and the heat that's coming in and out of this neck, okay? And what that does is that just to break a long story short, what's happening is that heats up in this area, and the first things that wind up going are these really heat sensitive components. And as everybody knows, the heat sensitive components on a board like this that are going to go out most commonly and most frequently would be the capacitors, these electrolytic capacitors. Now, sometimes you'll get a board like this that will have a dozen electrolytic capacitors. Sometimes they'll have 0. And this particular variant only has 2. So we have one over here and one over here. So we're going to, even though these probably are okay, maybe we'll pull them and maybe we'll test them if we have time afterwards. But we're going to change them out anyway, because it's just 2 of them. And it's part of this restoration package to just change these 2 out. So no matter what, we're going to change them. Okay, now everything else is okay on the board and doesn't need to be changed. But over time, just like those capacitors, the solder itself on this board, and I'm sorry my camera will glitch out from time to time, but the solder on this board itself will begin to break down. And that's just from, again, heat, high heat, and then contracting and being cold, high heat, cold, high heat, cold, high heat, cold. And that's why they call it a cold solder joint. I'm going to try to get in here close and focus in on the back end of the neck socket, which is one of the places that develops cold socket or cold solder joints, right around where you see the curve on those points. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll come in later, Daniel. The Belmont probably has to go back to work today. Might be nice over in. Look at that H2 though. Do you see right between the H2 and the 6 how it looks a bit funky? Like we need to make sure that eventually that solder will break down, and you'll lose continuity there, and you'll end up with problems. So hopefully. My camera won't end up with too many problems and I get to focus again. Okay, there we go. So, as a preventative measure, I recommend at least going in and reflowing the solder on these high heat elemented points, okay? But you can't go in and just do it with extremely high heat. You need to make sure your soldering iron isn't too turned up, because you might melt something inside some of these components down here if you hold it on there too long. So you want to make sure your solder's good, your temperature on your iron's good. Mine's at, let's see, 650 Fahrenheit. Hey, Shadow Mass, welcome in. James Boone, what's up? Thank you for coming. Roll Pats, welcome in. Rockhound, thank you. I mean, sometimes it damages the board, but it does not, it doesn't really matter. Because the points that are burnt are literally dead space on the board. It's just plastic. Okay, so now I don't, if we're trying not to spend $1,000 on our tools, all you have to do is make sure you have a good soldering iron and some good solder wick right here. Solder wick. This is the one I've been using, Chemtronics, size number 4, and we should be able to remove these two capacitors pretty easily with this solder wick, hopefully. So I'm going to start over here on this side, C705. I'm going to let my iron warm up, and just touch that solder there. There we go. Let's see if we can get that good and flowed. And it's alright if you need to see, look at that. Most of that just came right on out. Let me see if I can get closer. I don't know if I can. Okay, let me see here. Now, what I'm trying to do is get you right in here, C705. There we go. So you just saw it. I mean, it wasn't. See, it's loose now. I've got that one leg free. Now, if you really wanted to, you could go in here and put solder on this ahead of time, like fresh solder, and it would flow better more than likely. Whew. But when you've done it this many times and you got that magic touch, you've got that magic touch, and then you just slip that little capacitor right there out. And there we have our first little victim, a 16 volt 100. Just a little fella. And that's it. No damage, right? See, the board's fine. Mm-hmm. And really, just if this is again, this is the cheapest way. Like, I mean, I don't even think this is more than $15 for this whole reel of this stuff. Okay, and then just make sure you have good, decent solder and a decent iron. I mean, my iron is definitely expensive, but you don't have to use that iron. You can use, I used the other Hacko for a long time, which was that. This is just over $100 usually. That, and then that FX888. Then you just like snip off this bad end and toss it out. Excuse me. And again, that's the first capacitor. So we didn't even have to use our desoldering gun, so you don't have to have that, right? You don't have to have that to just do this job. And what we can do is we can replace this capacitor, since we don't want to just forget what the capacitor is. I actually have a kit here in front of me. Guys, how we doing out there? How we doing? I know it seems a little quiet. Is everybody just enjoying the smooth jazz and watching the professor here work? We can do anything that's a 16 volt 100 or higher. I think I'm going to upgrade that to a 25 volt 100, because I think that's what's here in my kit of goodies. If I can find it. There's a 50 volt 100. Maybe I don't have a 25 volt 100 in here. I thought I would have. Interesting. Okay. No, that's not it. So I probably this was a... Okay. I've got them right over here, though. Oh, here we go. Now, the one I had just pulled was a 85 degree, 16 volt, 100. Okay? And... people like, why do you use Worth capacitors? Worth's a good capacitor, okay? They make good capacitors for this stuff, okay? It's okay. We've got 25 volt 100 microfarads, so we're upgrading our voltage, which is perfectly fine. We're going up to 105 degrees, so we're getting a better rating capacitor with a higher tolerance. It's all around, it's better. It's gonna wear out. It's gonna last a lot longer than that one did, and that one lasted since the mid-90s or early 90s. So we're gonna just slip those sexy legs in the hole there. Can you see that on your screen? Goodness, I mean, I can zoom in and it might be okay, or it might be just dirty looking. How about that? It's not too dirty. That's tolerable, right? Oh, hang on. My iron has a safety mode where if I just leave it alone, it turns off. I'm gonna give this a little tack, just like that. Then I'm gonna snip that leg off there. Snip the other leg down. That's kind of like the cheating way to do it, right? You get one well done. Then you can come back and reflow that one. And perfecto. Just like that. We've installed our capacitor. And see, we can double check that, right? Our negative leads to the negative on the board. The level of pressure. I mean, I don't put like pressure on it per se, as far as you don't want to press down. You got to let the heat do the work, okay? On any of these things. Like, we're gonna pull this C713 next. I'll try to get as close as I can without like making you nauseous, even though I might already be doing that. Let me lift this up a little bit, but it's just about getting the point that you need hot enough and just enough time to liquefy it, and then get that. I don't want to hit this stupid mouse and keyboard with my elbow while I'm trying to solder. Alright, so let's go in here, and I'll just tap this with some extra solder so it stands out a little bit more. Yeah, you don't really want to add pressure, because you don't want to slip. See, the problem too is if you add a lot of pressure, your hand can... wait, sorry, I'm off screen. So if I added a lot of pressure and then I slipped, I could go down here and scratch the board with a big hot iron. And if you do that with a board that's newer than this, you'll knock components off and cause damage. And man, come on, baby. Come on back to us. This is as bad as that 8-bit Esquire video. There we go. Wow, we actually got it super zoomed in there. I don't even know if I can get it up that high. Can you take me higher? Do 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 do. Are there any Creed fans still left on planet Earth? Are there any Creed fans still left? Oh my goodness, they're so big. Crazy enough, when I was a kid in Nashville growing up in high school, my buddies and I went to see that concert at it's the place where currently the Nashville Predators. Hey, PO17 and James, welcome in. Troy Branch, thank you for coming. Dioper Doctor, welcome in. Well, let's go there. We'll make our escape. Come on, let's go there. Just an escape. Can you take me higher? Alright. My voice is killing me lately. Too much talking over the weekend. Anyway, I went to this Creed concert, and we felt like such dorks even then. Like, we knew we were dorks for going to the Creed concert. Like, half the kids in the school were making fun of us for going to it. Oh, we were like, dude, we like Creed to kind of like freshman year, I think. And better reflow that. It's such an embarrassing time. With arms wide open under the sunlight. Oh, the dog's snoring, baby. So now I'm just going to start trying to get some of this solder off the board with this, with the pressure on and the Creed in the brain. This one's a little bit more difficult because it's like right up against the board mostly on the other side. Get a little wiggle. See if we broke it free on that side. Oh yeah. Okay. Can you take me higher? It's like VH1 and the end of the VH1 slash... Hey, Stefan. Welcome in, man. Dr. Claw. Yeah. So, let's see, what else? There was something else funny about the Creed story. I can't remember. You know? Maybe it'll come to me. Oh yeah, there we go. Sometimes just give her a little wiggle there. You can see that both sides are free, so just pop out of that hole. Look at that. Another 85 degree cap. Looks a little toasty. 250 4.7 UF. Now that one we might have here in this kit. Can't believe I got this to actually... I bet they do, man. The year of Scott Stapp. Yeah, I heard him coming out like on interviews talking about like being abused and stuff as a child, which sucks. Absolutely sucks. But like there was a time when like that guy just came off as such a ass. Anyway, I don't know how the hell get in the topic of Creed here, trying to just work on some circuit boards, right? What else can we talk about? Let's see. We're looking for a 250 volt 4.7. So goofy, I probably don't even have that one in here. Let's see. What's this one? That's a, no, 250 volt 2.2. And, oh! Alright, guys. 250 volt, 2.2, yeah. I must have had like the worst picks on capacitors here to rework with, because I've not found anything in this to-go kit that I've actually been able to use. Oh, there it is. 250, 4.7, I think. Is that right? No, that's 50. Here we go. No wonder I wasn't able to recap anything over the weekend. This is our replacement. 105 degrees Celsius. Same rating. Sexy old Nishikon girl here. There we go. Of course I'm the one who started singing it. You're just like, we're all just living through the psychotic episodes I have in my own brain. I just get to pretend like it's normal since I'm just talking to you on and on about it with all of you out there in TV land. Now I'm going to show you something that I'm going to do on this particular cap because it looks like I might have some leakage. So we're going to dab that. We're going to dab that a little bit with some cleaner. Hello, lovely folks out there. We're just gonna stick this and submerge this amazing Q-tip down here in this lovely mixture of isopropyl alcohol here, and we will take this lovely little saturated device, and we should just take that down in here, and we will just give a little dab right down in there, right in that little nasty place right there where that capacitor once sat. Because it sat there for 30 years, and it did leave a little bit of residue, you know? And sometimes you just gotta get in there and, you know, after like Grandpa goes and uses the restroom, you can tell you're gonna have some residue left over. And you're like, Granddad, good grief, Granddad, could you have just like maybe made it all the way in the toilet? Not like 60%, so you have to get out the big wand, just like this. You dab in those extra corners and you get it ready because, you know, your boss is coming over in about an hour, and he might have to use the bathroom, and you don't want him to come in after Grandpa and see all that residue. So we'll get all that cleaned up, nice and sparkly, just like that. Nice and sanitary, good enough to eat off of. All right, guys. Is there anybody left now? Did I just run everybody off? Huh? You still here? Can you drop a like for me if you haven't already? Folks, if you haven't, for goodness gracious sakes, drop a like. Drop a like on the show for us. We all need it. Every episode relies on one thing only, and that's your lovely likes. We need them here to continue on this learning experience, which it is for all of us. To see how much cleaner that is? I told you. Just sparkle that thing right on up. Okay? There we go. There we go. That's right. You only get to see this stuff live. I don't even have a clips show yet. You know, I need somebody to step up and take all the goofy stuff that ends up happening on this show and make a pretty good clips channel. Maybe something will go viral. I don't know. I'm too busy working on the CRTs to mess with that, though. There's more important things for me to do. Right? Like clean up Grandpa's residue. There I am. I'm even a poet. Did you even know it? La 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 la. There we go. All right. Now, when I put pressure against these points that, for example, I'm just trying to hit the leg of the component and then a little bit of the pad. Okay, I'm not trying to hit all up in the area that's green at all. I mean, I know that sometimes it sounds obvious. We're going to leave that green alone. And sometimes you just come in and you just touch the component leg. If you're just reflowing solder, you don't even touch the pad or the board. Just touch the top there. Okay? So that's it. See that fresh solder on that? Now obviously we'll come in there and clean that back of the board, but we're going to reflow solder on the rest of it first. Okay, so we do have a focus knob that's popped off of here. Now that's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. These are adjustable from the back, so as long as they're still working. I wouldn't even adjust this from the front, really, because it's too hard to get in there under the neck of the, under the tube. Okay, there we go. Bada bing. So we've done our capacitors. Let's double check over here. Yes, we've matched the correct thing. We've got negative to negative right there. Okay, Professor Whom, welcome in. J Kuhn, what's up? H-stat? That's the horizontal static convergence. So as you spin that, your colors horizontally on the entire screen, I know my fingers look terrible, your colors between red, like if you're looking at your screen, they'll separate red, green, and blue horizontally, or they'll come together, so it's just an alignment thing. Okay, so now we've replaced the capacitors, and like I said, we need to come in here. The hottest points are going to be resistors attached up here, these resistors, definitely this neck socket. That's where we're going to start. Now you could get in here and start removing solder, and sometimes that's required. Sometimes there's really crappy solder in here, it's been reworked, it's not good, and you need to just remove it. However, Sony didn't normally use bad solder, and so I'm just going to reflow and retouch up the solder with some fresh solder. And since I'm like going to be flowing a lot of solder here, I'm actually going to turn on, this should make some of you guys happy, I'm actually going to turn on my fan. And hopefully my, the problem with the fan is that it's just so darn loud. So maybe the voice filter that I have on you can't drive and you could drive and repair CRTs at the same time. You're better than I am. Joe, Ray 6. All right, I'm gonna put this back up here. Yeah, don't solder and drive. Don't. Oh, but you can drink and solder. I've proven that. So I've got my 4. You can drink and solder. All right, so I hope that the it's just super loud. It's like a buzzsaw right in my face. But I'm gonna get in here and touch it up, and it should suck all the fumes. And look, this is just what is it? It's not actual lead that's being produced here. It's the there's rosin in the core of this solder, so that's what's smoking. We don't actually have enough temperature or the ability to liquefy lead. Okay. Or I mean, sorry, vaporized lead. And that's it. G1's done. I'm not going to come over here. I'm going to let that cool, and I'm going to switch sides. And that is a strategy that you want to employ, okay? Because you don't want to heat up one side too much. See, you'll get situations like this, right? See, I told you how the solder just kind of falls apart. And like we can get in here and we'll just remove a bunch of it. And this happens. Okay. So see there, I mean, that one didn't really come together very well. But we'll try to get it. Try to get it back. No problem. And clean the tip. And that's not a burn mark. That's, again, vaporized. There we go. It's flux. I'm gonna go back here and put a little more in there. I like to have a little extra on there. Now you cannot hold heat on that very long or you'll melt. You'll start to melt that actual neck socket right in there. So we're gonna go now. We've got a good weld at each corner. Actually, I still need to fix this a little bit more if I can, because it's got a little bad spot there. There we go. Okay. We'll skip H2 and we'll go to G1. Come on, board. This isn't really helping hands. Let me see if I can get my helping hands to actually help hold the board. But just to show you, too, that there's no harm in that. Scrape all that residue off after you clean it. Look at that. So that was that one that looked like it was burnt, right? And again, you know, you just rework it, take your time, because sometimes you have to do it 2 or 3 times to get it right, or get it what I consider perfect enough. There you go. See how that's all gone? I mean, sorry, right there is where we're looking at H1. See how that looked like there was burn there? It's not burn at all, see? That's the new joint. That's the new joint. Not like that old joint, okay? Let's try to... Let me try to use some helping hands here. See if this will help at all. All right. How are we doing out there? That's right, shiny. Are you guys able to see everything okay? All right, guys. Awesome. We're doing good. We're doing good. Hey, I want to say thank you, everybody. This is the time where we're going to continue working down this neck board. We're going to finish up this entire CRT socket, and we're just going to grind through it, hopefully, and then we'll move on to some other points I'll show you on this board. But please, if you could do me a huge favor, if you've not done it already, and you can, you are, as good old Sheriff Cathode Ray Justice would say, you are a member of the Retrotech County community. If you are able to click the like button, please click the like button for me. We've got a good 53 likes here. Let's try to get it to like 65 by the time maybe I finish this. We'll get lucky, but that does actually help the show a lot. And I don't, like, currently I don't have any, sponsors or anything for the show. I'm just relying on grassroots movement of everybody who likes the show to actually engage with us here and and again, feel free to comment and talk along with everybody as I go through this, and we'll just have some more fun. All right, moving on. My shameless plug and beg, you just heard it, for the audience to participate. So I'm actually hitting up this leg of this capacitor. And as I do that, it heats up this, but I don't want to go right over here and do this one, because then this might still be hot and the part could just slip right out. So that's why you never want to go back to back. You got to hit up a different component. That's right, do your duty, Snuffer Stuffer. Nice one, Headland. Moving over to this G1 spot. This one's not cooperating perfectly. It's got a bit of an issue here. So let's get some of that out. Start over. Okay. I may have to lift it up, maneuver it around a little bit. Sometimes you just gotta move it. Oof, don't get too hot to trot there. Tried to trying to use gravity to help out, and then my helping hands are not being helpful. Come on, baby. Give me a good, cute joint there. You're just not doing it. Sorry, everybody. I know I'm off screen a little bit. Still trying to get this one to clean up. There's just some spots that just do not want to cooperate no matter what you do. Does happen. G1 has just been cranky. So let's go around. We're gonna hit some of these other spots. Maybe they'll be a little bit more cooperative. Sometimes most of the time you don't have to hit it with that much, but this. Let's screw this. This is actually a good example of bad solder on this neck board, because it's just like immediately falling apart. And it maybe we'll just get rid of all of it and then try. Let's see if it looks better, works better. We'll get all of it off this color. Ooh, see there? That's all of it off there for the color. Color green. We got all of it off, okay? Okay. Let's see if this helps any. Now I don't want to actually test gravity too much on the end of that. I know it's just not going to be helpful. And it's never going to work. So let's try to get, sorry, I know folks, this is live. Remember, we're trying. Let's see if I turn that down a little bit. If I can get you in there good. Alright. That's a pretty good view. So I'm trying to go over here where that, get it right there in the middle. That color green is. Right there. I think we got it. I think we finally got that one. I'm gonna let it cool down a second, okay? because that was a big heat, intense, hot moment. But that one looks really good now. You saw how much trouble we had there. Now it's perfect. Look at those three. I mean, they do look... If you look at the G1, the KG, H1, look how much better those joints look. Those welds, whatever you want to call them. I'm going to actually redo this other G1 because I don't like the way it looks. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Ugly solder blob. Ooh, that's hot. Ooh, look at that. There's so much solder there. So much in that. Looks pretty good now, actually. Funny enough. It's better after it. Let's see. Still don't like that ugly little thing it's doing, but it's going pretty good. These are some intense hot moments, baby. Intense hot moments, not meant for children. Or actually, it is meant for children. Just a bunch of man children and a couple girls. But mostly man babies. Let's go over here. Yeah, this is just joke. I should have grabbed the 301 just because it would have been easier. But again, we're gonna maintain our dignity and our challenge. Son of a biscuit. It's hot. I think that's about all of it. Let's try the same thing over here with this son of a gun. It's no better. Woo! It's hot to the touch, though, I tell you that. It's hot. It's flooded and hot. The 301, yeah, well, that's for the babies, isn't it? We just gotta go with the real challenge here. So let's see if removing the solder off the H1 and G1 will help us any. Gosh, this ugly old G1. Go, baby, go. Go, ninja, go, ninja, go. How about that? How about that crab apple? I know, that's the thing. The 301 isn't. That's why I wanted to do the... This is definitely entry level cost-wise, okay? You can use this stuff in practice on any board that looks similar to the one I'm working on and practice all day. And if you become good with this, like I say, you could do most of these jobs without it. Without the 301. Temp is at 650 Fahrenheit, Ronnie. So, wow. Obviously, we just needed to get rid of that old nasty solder to get that to connect. And kind of the same thing there. I just flood it. And that's what I want, those nice pearls right there. Give that girl a pearl necklace. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to say that. Just kidding. Okay. Lovely. So we're down to these three. What time is it? We're doing good. Absolutely. If you haven't, what do you guys? We got you guys a couple more chances here to click the like button. I'm gonna take a second and see. Let's see what we're at. Ooh, 62. We're so close to 65. You guys are awesome. Come on. Come on, let's get it. Let's get it. Get that like button. You can do it. You can do it. Watch. Just like I can do this, you can do that. You can do it. Just give it a happy little like, right? Let's go back here on the other side. Get the other side of there. Gotta get that 30-year-old solder out of there because it's just not helpful today. It's gotta go. It's being forcibly removed. Look at that clean. Clean, 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 clean removal. Right there. Just using the solder wick, okay? Right there. Give her a little edge here. Now, you know, the thing is I may be better off if I used a bigger tip, since I'm going at such big portions here. Portions. Ugh. Going for some big dabs here. But that went way cleaner on these when I did it with the removing the solder. All these. We're going to do this red, we're going to do this G2, and we'll do this spot all the same way, and then finally this G4 spot. And then the rest of the stuff shouldn't have a problem with just reflowing the solder, but if we do, we'll do what we need to. We'll use our solder wick. You know, I just really liked this pencil tip since I started using it. It's just it can get into so many tiny spots. It gets super hot at that tip. Before then I used chisel tips, but I've really just come to love this one. And it's my go-to. And that's nothing, there's no reason, you know, like, whatever works for one person, that doesn't say it's the same. Each of you will find, I think, when you use tools, that there's certain things that you must maybe are better with or you're more comfortable using, and that's okay. That's why they make different tips. And there's also different jobs where you may need a different style tip, but I think you'll find that some people will pick a certain style and use those as their go-to for the majority of the work they do. It's like goose. Hey, you know the rules. No CRTs will be left behind here. We're not going to do that. We're going to save these bad boys. There we go. Lovely. Now there's no way. Yeah, race. See? And honestly, this is the only one with the pencil edge. When I went and worked on things in the booth, I used my cheaper Hacko to take with me, and that has the knife edge or the chisel edge or whatever, you know, depending on how you want to call it. It's a little bit diagonal, I believe. Or no, it's actually a chisel edge. Sorry, I don't use the knife chisel. It's a chisel. So, it just depends. Yeah, it depends on the job. There's going to find some where you're going to need more. I just found that with this iron, I can do pretty much all I need. With this tip, 90% of the work I need to do, I can accomplish with this particular setup here. Now, this one is going to need a little bit more heat, since it's on that plate there, but we just got it all off. Just got it all off. Pretty much all of it, I think. Let's see if we can get anything else off. A little more. Not much. There we go. There we go. Absolutely. Thank you everybody. Yeah, I mean, and you saw this. It doesn't happen the first time. A lot of these took me 2 or 3 times to rework. Okay, but obviously I'm slowing down too because I don't want this whole thing to get too hot. I don't want that plastic to melt. It can withstand heat, but it also, I've seen it melt. And that one's perfect right there. I think I've already said that. It's 650. It just maintains 650. My iron does not change from 650 unless I need it to be really hot to remove something that's on a ground plate that is on a big board. Yeah, Ronnie, if the board is terrible, like you'll come into some boards where no matter what you do, you go in and occasionally the spots will vaporize. They just literally burn up. And then you have to run patches. It happens. But it's just dependent on the quality of the board and solder and the how it was stored can depend. What kind of elements was it exposed to as it was being stored can impact the breakdown of the board itself. So there we go. We got the G2 cleaned up. And while I'm sitting here with this, I'll probably go ahead and just clean that G4 up. So yeah, even I will burn a pad. Even I will screw up a CRT and not be able to fix it. That's why I don't tend to take broken ones on too often unless I know the problem with them. There's some people ask me to work on certain monitors and they don't know what's wrong with them, and I don't do that for I don't just take on any jobs because sometimes you just never can tell and you might never be able to figure out what's exactly wrong. The best thing to do is to try to maintain them while they're mostly working and fix them when they're mostly working and keep them going. And then, like little problems you'll fix before they actually become a problem. Like something like that was starting to develop, well, we would have repaired it by doing this maintenance. Goodness, this one's not as good as the others. We got flooded there. That's good. Then we'll hit this G4. Kind of gonna hit all the pad sides just to get it flowing, get a nice flood. Not enough flood, huh? Okay. Still not enough on the flood. Okay, dude. Really being annoying now, aren't they? Look how much I had to put on that little bugger. That's ridiculous. Ignict, it just depends. Sometimes you'll find that one is easier than the other. It just depends on where and what you're trying to pull. Now this whole thing is going to need a good cleaning, right? I'm going to go through here and I'm going to tap solder on some of these smaller points I was telling you about. There we go. We get a little bit off of that. So I had just too much solder on there. Okay, we're going to go down here. We're going to, like, everything that's connected to these points we're going to get. So there's a little one there. This one here. This one here. Done that one. And done that one. I'm gonna come over here. Do this. And those are pretty solid. Really just do that. Moonanite, probably. You know, I didn't even think about it. It's probably ingrained in my brain. I was an earlier adopter of Aqua Teen Hunger Force. It's always been a kind of cultural impact on me. Probably full of the one-liners that are stuck in my brain. Yeah, baby, here we go. We're getting good. You can come back. If some of them look like they're ugly, you can come back and redo them. It's okay. If you don't like it. Just making sure that everything's going to be solid. Remember, I'm switching up as I go. I'm switching up. I'm not hitting the same component back to back because I don't want the component to fall out of the board. Which happens if you liquefy both legs of the same component simultaneously. It will just fall right out. So that's really the majority, right? What we're going to do now is I'm going to go through here and I'm going to clean all this off, and then I'm going to let you take a look at this. And then, you know, for this job, I will actually do that to the entire board. Okay? But I might run out of time, so I'd prefer to actually clean it and let you see what it looks like. I'll turn this noisy fan off. I'm sorry. I don't know. Can you guys tell me, did you hear my fan at all? Anybody let me know if they heard my fan? I'm so fucking exactly. Whatever. I mean, did anybody go? I haven't seen it. There was a movie, a Moonanites or a. We heard it. Okay. All right. Well, it's off now. Sorry for the buzz. Sorry for the buzz there. But you can see all the flux residue that was liquefied. It would have been up my nose. Ah, dadgummit. I thought that was supposed to knock out a lot of that sound. But, oh well. I apologize, folks. I'm very sorry. What can you say? Like everybody's saying in the chat, they're used to it. Gotta get that ultra hum eliminator profile set up for OBS. Every time I get my OBS settings perfected, my Windows PC crashes. And then I have to do it all over again. Look at this. Just that nasty residue getting on there, baby. You gotta just get in there and get that granddaddy's cracks clean right in there. There we go. And, you know, I want to leave that stuff on there. Drop a like. Drop a like for me, folks, if you haven't already. This is about the 4th time. I just have to say, though, thank you everybody who always does leave a like, because your like literally turns into... 1 like turns into 10 viewers. For this show, and really that's more than I can do. I can't even spread the show like that. Like my 1 like would get it maybe 10 new views, but if everybody else chips in, does that little thing, it does. Even on the back end, you know, even after the show's done, people tend to come in and watch it for the first 2 days. They watch the playback a lot for the first 2 days, and I know that the fact that you hit the like button, it definitely helps them get notifications that a new episode is out. This is the third stream this week on the channel. The 3rd bunker show this week. Oh man, I cannot wait to go on the road and pick up those new CRTs tomorrow. Phew, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be so much fun. Get to go buy some new CRTs. I already paid for them. Just get to go pick them up. That's right. Scare away the normies. Oh, are any of us normies anymore? Who considers himself a normie? What is a normie? Whatever was a normie? The philosophical questions that only a thinking man can endure while he listens to a jazzy playlist. Hey, one more update too. I forgot to mention this. I've been just so busy the last week leading up, and then the week after, of course, the convention. But I mentioned in the stream 2 days ago with Zez on Halloween about the story of Howard and how Howard had given me that CRT you guys saw in that episode, the KV wood grade 13-inch. Anyway, Howard actually reached back out to me, and we're gonna try to get together. I'm gonna get back with him to get on the show with the three of us, and we'll do some hanging out and some talking some more. But he definitely reached back out to me after the episode, so that's awesome. Gave me some updates on some things I screwed up, but that's okay. We'll get him on here. We'll talk about it some more with him, and that should be a fun experience. Talk to Howard and see what he thinks. So, Howard, I'll follow up with you, I promise. I've just been too busy here. I have to get this one finished up and cleaned up. And you're starting to see this look really nice, right? Of course, it's got the liquid on there. We might do that one more time, and then I might get I'll get a fresh one here, and we'll wipe all that off. You got to get thousands and thousands and thousands of these little swabbies, right? So there was some really cool stuff too that keeps running in my head, and it makes me really happy. And it was at the show when it was mostly some Saturday, mostly Sunday, when it was slower. But there was I told a little bit about this in a couple streams ago. There was a lot of kids at the show that were actually super interested in CRTs, and there was even one guy who he loved CRTs, and he was a teenager. He worked at an arcade, and so he was super excited and was talking about things on CRTs that I knew he was going to be. He's already talking about things at a high level. I think that was the most interesting thing to me, was that kid was very smart and knew a lot, but there were also younger kids who would have been in elementary school age, and they said that they had been talking about things in their science classes, like magnetism and electromagnetism and things like that. So they were super interested in CRTs, and I think that their teachers must have used CRTs in some way to teach them, because they were super interested at the game show. And they came in, and they looked at the stuff, and they would ask me questions about things that only would be high level questions, where you actually have some knowledge of what's going on in the machine. And to me, that's the crazier thing. How about that? People that they didn't grow up around the machines, but they still love them, and they want to be there and see them. That's really why. I mean, think about it. I don't really care. I mean, it's awesome, but that's the reason we've got to keep the machines alive, because it's going to inspire the next person. Here's the thing. we're probably not going to come up with a tube solution in our lifetime from us. If there's going to be somebody who comes out and makes a viable like new tube for a CRT or CRT tube itself, it's going to be somebody from the next generation of people that's going to figure this out, I think. So that's what we've got. That's what we've got to keep these machines around, so it can help them to study, because there's a lot of science that's going on inside of a CRT. It's a beautiful machine, but I'm preaching to the choir now, and you all know that. You all know that. So I've gone through, just checked all the points here with my tweezers, kind of brushed off anything that's left on there. Take a little brush here and ESD brush and do that. Give it a little soft brush. Give it the old soft brush buff off treatment. There we go. How about that? What do you think? What do you think of that? Look at that. Compared to the way we started, look how beautiful that neck socket is. You think we'll have any issues with cold solder joints there for 30 years? No way. No, 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 no. Look at that perfection. Bam, baby. There we go. So that's the kind of this is vital. It's big. The rest of these joints don't have to be that crazy. Like that's fine, right? The rest of these things, these are a little bit. Let me get in there. Yeah, those ones are good. See, that's good. Oh yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody. So what do you think? What do you think? Do you think that watching me work through that a little bit may have helped a little bit? Maybe gave you an idea of what it actually takes to kind of do that? Now, you can see, unfortunately, I've got tons and tons. Maybe I'll flash back to this one. I've got tons and tons of flux built up now on my neck, so I'm gonna have to like scrub in there. Again, after I get done reflowing solder, I'm gonna have to clean like in here because I don't want that to get real sticky. That's gross. But we will finish up with this board, and that should do it. So yeah, I hope that this was helpful in some way, help somebody maybe get over the idea of I can remember that for a long time I never understood how solder wick, for example, worked. So just I feel like sometimes watching somebody actually use it. Now the thing too you have to remember, if you buy bad solder wick, it's gonna suck. So like even if you have the best technique, there's no way, if you have bad equipment, bad solder wick, if you have bad stuff like that, then you could have the best technique in the world and it won't help you. Like you would still struggle if it was bad and didn't have a good ability to do that. That's why I try to show you too a lot of the things I'm using so that you don't have to waste your time and your resources. Let me just clean up a little bit stuff out of the way. And I just want to again say thank you everybody for joining me on this wonderful edition of The Bunker, where again we get back to some basics. And I know usually this show is, yeah, I think we're doing good. I think we're maintaining some consistency on things for sure on a schedule, but also it's good to have some episodes be a little bit more serious, a little bit more educational, and then also have other episodes be a little bit more humorous and a little bit more fun, and just a mix of both things. I think that's okay. Anyway, thank you all very much. And if you want to get more information or need direct help with anything, please feel free to check out the link in the description of this video We'll link you to the Patreon page where you can find assistance and a whole community of people dedicated to CRTs. And that membership starts as little as $1 a month. Anyway, thank you all again for joining me today. I will see you next time, which will be next Monday on a special edition of The Bunker, about noontime Monday. So have a great weekend, and I will see you folks then. If I can find the... if I can find my mouse. Have a great weekend.